Let's replace the radiator on this 08 Mazda 5. Let's engage the e-brake, chalk up the back wheels, jack up the car, and place the car on jack stands. You always have to do a shakedown test. Now this car has been in a wreck previously, as you can tell from the broken plastic. First thing first is to remove this petcock, which is on the back driver's side of the radiator. And remove the radiator cap, and now it'll be pissing all over the place. And of course you want to clean it up. Now I'm removing the airbox. Pretty straightforward and simple. Got to remove the inlet to the radiator and the hoses around it. These two bolts, I think they're 10 millimeters. Then remove it from the hose. And I like to keep things organized, so I use these orange rubber mats, and I'll link them in the description down below if you want one. And let's remove the top hose. Reinstall the petcock and remove the bottom hose. Now let's tackle the fan. There are 4 plugs with the fan, and I sprayed WD-40 on it to make this process a little bit easier. And there's another one right behind that black plug. Now to remove the fan, you need to pinch these guys inwards and pull the fan outwards. So I did that on both sides, and you gotta pull the fan from the bottom of the car, which is why we have it jacked. Now we need to move this plastic piece to access the mounting points for the radiator. So pry up with a plastic piece remover and just kind of shove it inwards, and it should come right out. Now here's one of the mounting points. Pry up with the flathead and do that on the other side. The radiator is connected by those tabs to the AC condenser. Now you see these tabs, the bottom tab actually has a clip, and you need to press in that clip. It was extremely hard to get footage of this, but you'll see it when you're at this point. There's a clip you need to press in, then raise the condenser. So I got the right side done, and I had my trusty sidekick Tara to come over and help keep things aligned so I can get the left side. This was one of the most difficult parts of this process, because you do not want to mess up the condenser. So take your time and be patient, and once you get it, you can finally remove the radiator from the bottom of the car as well, and dispose of the coolant appropriately. And this crack is what causes radiator to fail. Just many miles with many heat cycles cause that plastic to break. Let's go ahead and transfer over the mounts and reinstall the radiator. Now this was very finicky as well. Not as hard as removing it, but finicky. So you want to make sure that you get the radiator up there and try to get the condenser into the clip mounts before you shove it back into place. And of course, a little bit of persuasion, I got it to mount into the clips. Now with the condenser all mounted, we need to push the bottom mounts into place, which was fairly easy. Had to kind of finagle it from left to right. And now let's go ahead and attach the bottom hose valve down here. I'm using a new clamp because I hate the pinch clamps. The fan is super easy, you just gotta snap it into place, and the left side needed a little bit of extra help as well. Now it's time to go ahead and put the mounts back on to the radiator and put it into place. Now this piece was a little finicky to put back together, but it wasn't that bad. Just be patient and put it in the right spot, and just kind of shove it into place. Don't hesitate to give it a little bit of extra persuasion. And tighten down the bolts. Now it's time to add the neck to the radiator. This was hard to get to, so take your time once again. A small set of pliers would make this job easier. And with these pinch clamps now installed, I hate them, now they're installed, we can now move on to bolting down and seducing the inlet. And now attach the rest of the hoses around the inlet. And now plug in the plugs to the fan, and I'm removing this hose because I ended up cutting it up because I thought the hose was leaking when I first tried to fix the car on the side of the road. So with some silicone lubricant makes installing these hoses super easy. Now it's time for the airbox. You just kind of put it in place and latch it. I am obviously missing components, so you have a few more things to install, but this car has been in an accident, so I don't have them. Now it's time to add some Asian vehicle coolant because it's Mazda. So it slowly poured into the radiator because there's not much air to escape. I cranked it over, turned on the heat all the way so the coolant can get into the heater core, and continued to top off and make a mess of the reservoir and the radiator. So I continued to do that until it stopped bubbling. See the bubble? You wanna make sure you don't have any more bubbles. Now it's time to reinstall the radiator cap, lower the car, and take it for a test drive. This particular radiator was one of the tougher radiators I've done. Most radiators can easily just be pulled out from the top of the engine without jacking up the car. And a lot of times the condenser is not clipped onto the radiator like that. So that's one thing that made it a little bit more difficult. I have all the stuff I use in the description down below. If your car is overheating and you know what it is, check out this video. It's Chris AutoMotivate. Always appreciate and respect one another. I'll see you next time.